It seems like ages ago, Nando Vimusi had one idea to join all the YouTubers with talent to do a kind of retrospective of the MCU. Following that success, and considering that the X-Men series was coming to an end, he decided to do one excellent scene. This time, it wasn't just the movies, it was everything. Video games, cartoon series, everything was open as long as it talked about the X-Men. So, in honor of Canada Day, and after a long delay, I'm gonna talk about the one of the most popular X-Men and one event in his life that, well, is completely ignored by most of fandom. And it happens here. Alpha Flight, the X-Men. What's the link? Well, look closely, my friends. The X-Men are there. And while the hero in this story is Heather, Wolverine is more than a co-star. He's a partner in this. So, and it has everything to do with his very illustrious career. Or you see, Wolverine keeps going back to Canada, but he never stays. And some of you might remember that Wolverine became a superhero to lead Canada's team, Alpha Flight. So why did he left? Why did he join the X-Men? So, long ago, the creator of Alpha Flight was Chris Claremont. He wanted a team able to fight the X-Men, but that weren't villains. And being Canadian, he thought, well, why not make a team for Canada? So he created a few heroes and a leader. He sent the leader first in the United States to capture Wolverine. That turned into a disaster. The leader returned, and instead of calling himself Weapon Alpha, he changed his name to Vindicator because he had to vindicate the mistake he made because he injured a civilian, Moria McTaggart, by accident. It was a rebound on Colossus. He didn't aim for her or anything, but the X-Men were later a little bit hijacked into Alberta while returning from Japan, and had to fight the whole team there. There's an excellent scene where Wolverine was smelling someone he knew, but he didn't know exactly what was weird with him now. And the scientist Walter Langowski was in fact Sasquatch, and grabbed Wolverine, slam him into two walls, and knock him out. Name anyone that could sneak on Wolverine and knock him out before he has time to react. That is, well. So, what's the real link between Wolverine and Alpha Flight? As I said, he was supposed to lead the team. Why did he left? We all know that Wolverine had a solo mission just before joining the X-Men. It was to stop the Hulk, because Hulk was believed to have eaten 2 hunters in Canada. It wasn't Hulk, it was the Wendigo. So if the first fight of the Hulk and Wendigo was a duel, when Hulk overshot his target, had a little bit of adventure in Russia before returning, he had to pass to Canada again. The Hulkbuster wanted to come. Canadian government said, no. If the Hulk has attacked Canadian civilians, it will be Canada who stop him. We have something special prepared. It was Wolverine. It was believed that since Wolverine's skeleton was laced with adamantium, the Hulk couldn't break his bone, and he would heal from any other injury. So maybe, well, the 3-way fight was what they got, and that won't be the last time that Wolverine or the Hulk would fight the Wendigo, but let's just say that it was a draw, and the Canadian government wasn't happy, and Wolverine kind of cut the tie off the Canadian military officer that was commanding him as he was meeting Professor X, and say, okay, I quit, try to catch me now, and away, I went to the USA. So that's it. He was just angry because he wasn't believed by the Canadian government that the Hulk wasn't responsible. It's kind of weak as an answer, right? And why did James insisted to bring him back? Well, Alpha Flight didn't do things the way other comic books at the time did. After all, if you look closely, you might recognize, yes, that's North Star, the first gay superhero. And when he came out in Alpha Flight number 122, the fans we knew that 100 issues ago. It was clear he was gay. We had no problem with it. So, yeah. Alpha Flight also killed the founding hero in issue 12. In the first year of their team, they kill off the team leader. And for a time, Heather, after grieving, became the leader without any superpowers. But after a battle with the villain that pretended to be James returned from the dead, I won't go into that one, it's really complicated. They made a power suit. Well, they modified this power suit so he would fit Heather. But she didn't have any training. So she asked the best warrior of the group, Buck, for training. But he refused because he was in love with her and he didn't want her to die. So while the other member of Alpha Flight tried to figure out where Heather was going with the power suit, Buck realized that there's one man who would train her, and that's Wolverine. So he went after Heather that was going after Wolverine to get training. So she come in flying with a electromagnetic battle suit at the X-Mansion because Wolverine sent her a picture. Yeah. He sent her a picture of himself going like that in front of the X mansion. Man. Like, well, the X-Men were going out to the opera, I think. And when they were spotted, you will notice that the leader is not Cyclops, but Magneto. He was reformed at the time. He blasted her. Wolverine slashed him. And after a little bit of scuffle, Wolverine left in the car with Heather unconscious and forcing the others to return home and watch on TV the opera. So, using the enormous land of the expansion, Wolverine took a ride with Heather to talk to her. And when Heather said to him, "Teach me," it took a second for Wolverine to respond because he thought, so that was what it's all about. Heather couldn't cut it out as leader. See? Alpha Flight without some kind of power, so she got somebody to rebuild Jimmy's battle suit. The same suit that killed him. So Wolverine said those 4 little words, "Babe, you're nuts." He stopped the car, Heather ran off. Wolverine jumped over the car after her. "I never said I wouldn't help you, beautiful. I said you were nuts. So join the club." That little view of how Wolverine considered superheroes was reflected earlier in the comics when the ordinary looking guy Madison Jeffries questioned the other members of Alpha Flight for not helping Heather become a superheroes because none of them were quitting because it was dangerous. So what right do they have to stop her to become a superhero as well? Funny thing is, they would get close together, Heather and Madison, later on. But so Heather and Wolverine began to talk about when they found Wolverine, because she didn't know why he quit Alpha Flight. Why did he come to the X-Men? So Wolverine explained that long ago Heather and James were on their honeymoon in the Logan National Park for Mount Logan when they were attacked by a wildman. At that moment they thought it was a beast or a bear or something. So Heather grabbed the gun and shot Logan. But Logan didn't die. He was injured, but he was eating. So they brought him back to the cabin. And James, being the best skier of the two, went to get some help, leaving Heather with her Wolverine tied to the bed. But while unconscious, Wolverine cut the ropes because no one knew he had claws. In fact, even he didn't know he had claws. This is how he reacted. And this is how Heather reacted. She realized that it wasn't him. Somebody had done it to him. She held him all through the night when he was crying. Wolverine cried. So, how did Wolverine view that moment? Not with sarcasm or dismissing it. No. He was honest. You held me like that all night long when you were supposed to be holding Jimmy. By the time Jimmy got back, you pulled me through. You know that the X-Men Origin Wolverine, the whole couple, they were supposed to be James and Heather Hudson. The first people he met after getting the claws. That story here, there's an emotional weight to it. In the movie, it was okay, he's back. So, why did Wolverine leave Canada? Like he said, he was injured before, but this was different. It would never heal. He had metal claws now. His skeleton was like that. He couldn't remove it. So when Heather says, Jimmy worked with you day and night until you conquered the pain-racked side of yourself to contain the bloodlust beast inside of you and become a man. But Wolverine said, I've already told you, babe, it wasn't Jimmy, it was you. From that night in the cabin till the day I finally got it through my thick adamantium lace skull, that you really were married to Jimmy, and you weren't going to leave him for no one, especially not me. And she asked, you left Department H because you couldn't have me? Jimmy was like a brother to me. Well, you treated me like the child you two never had. I only was too big to bounce on your knees. So rather than cause a scene, I split. Yes, Wolverine left Canada because he was in love with Heather Hudson, the woman who brought him back to humanity. He left because he couldn't, betray Jimmy, we consider a brother, and that untenable situation, it was too much for him. So he left. Of course, the rest of the comic and the follow-up, Wolverine and other fight ninjas and Lady Deathstrike. Yes, the first appearance of Lady Deathstrike is here. She's here. Look at her shoulder pads and everything, and the helmet. Wrong color, but they weren't any samurai either. Well, if you look at the relationship of Wolverine with Redheads, it begins here, man. He couldn't have Heather because Jimmy was like a brother to him. So when you went into the X-Men and saw Redhead and saw the worst traits of James into this Cyclops guy that he didn't have any relationship with, it wasn't his brother, it was just some jerk. So yeah, he tried to hit on it on Jean because, hey, she's a redhead and really like his type. So yes, we got more detail about Wolverine's mind in this that many of his own comics. He is more relatable, vulnerable, human than in any other comics. And that story is never told anywhere else. It is all but forgotten. But now you know. That one excellent scene.